the presence of negativity in our life, regardless of whether it's a parent, a spouse, a good friend, the coworker in the cubicle next to you, the neighbor who pops on over every day, right? That presence of negativity is very difficult. And in some of those relationships, we have a choice of how much to take in terms of their actual presence in our life. In some of them, we don't. But we do have a choice in all of the relationships of how much of their version of reality to take in. Just because someone's a parent doesn't mean that you have to automatically subscribe to their version of reality. Yeah, it grates on you. And you have the right, regardless of the relationship, even child to parent, you have the right as your own being to say, this conversation is very difficult for me. Can we change it? Isn't it a beautiful day? Look at those flowers. Not with negativity, not with saying, oh my God, Mom, your dad, you're so negative. Listen to me, your spiritual daughter, teach you how to live. Right? Doesn't usually work very well. So you've got to be sure to do it from a place of total clarity within yourself. Because a lot of times what happens with our parents is we're so plugged into them internally that their way of thinking literally gets us inside. And so we need them to change for us. And that's also not fair to do to them. That's where our work is so important. Yeah, it would be easy if we could all make our parents change so that being with them was easier. But A, not going to happen. B, that's not the highest goal, because who are you going to keep making change in your life? Your parents, your spouse, your coworker, your neighbor. The goal is, how can I, and it's hardest with parents, but if you can do it there, you can do it anywhere. How can I unhook myself? Not from loving you, not from the relationship, but from your way of thinking and being. Anytime you think you've really hit enlightenment, go spend a week in your parents' house. And what's so wonderful about it is it really shows you what work you've still got to do. You know, if you've ever had a filling in your tooth, I had chipped a tooth and had to get a filling crown put in there last summer. And they do something really interesting. After they do it, it's all set. Before they let you go, they put this little blue, it looks like carbon paper, in between the teeth, and they say, grind all around, and you go. And then they pull it out, and then they look, and then they file a little more, and then they make you grind again, and what that paper is doing is staining your teeth in the place where, when you bite down, the bite isn't right. And so they know, they have to, file it down a little more. Spending a week at your parents' house is like that for your sadhana. You want to see where those spots are? It's literally like that blue paper. Okay, I guess I still have some issues around this because, oh my God, that just pushed my buttons so much that, even though I don't drink, I find myself headed to the nearest pub. Whatever it may be. I don't smoke, but I really need a cigarette. That's a signal for you. That's for you to, okay, I got to do some more work here. This is where we've got to file it down. The goal is not, how do I change them? So it's not like me saying to the dentist, my God, don't you have any paper that doesn't stain my teeth? Right? You see where that would defeat the purpose. Yeah, I would have blue stain-free teeth. But I would walk out with a bite that ultimately would end up causing a lot more problems in my jaw, in my muscles, all the way down into my neck and back. So those blue stains are for me to know, okay, this is the work. So you use them. Use them. Let your parents be, for God's sakes. If they change at this time of their life, great for them. But most of us are at an age where they've really already done a lot for us. Our moms carried us for 9 months. They fed us. They cleaned our poop for a long time. Regardless of everything else that they did, they've really done a lot for us. Most of our parents put us through school. Most of us had warm clothes in the winter time. They've done a lot. And it's now a time in our life to say, okay, I don't need to come back to you with, now I need you to change the very nature of who you are. When we were a kid, it was like, oh, Mom, no, I don't want the peanut butter on the toast. I wanted butter on my toast. Mom, make me a different piece of toast. Mom, make me a different sandwich. No, I don't want to eat spinach. Well, you've gone beyond that now. Let them be. Stop with, you've got to change this, do this differently. Unhook yourself from that. Because as long as you're hooked in, you're still where he was coming from. You're hooked in because they are the omnipotent, omniscient voice of truth, voice of safety, voice of security, voice of the very nature of who you are. No. They are not. They are people. Like we're all people. And they're doing their best, like we're all doing our best. And if you can just really recognize they're not the all-knowing, all-powerful, all that what they say has to go into every cell of your being. Okay, they're negative. Fine. Let them be negative. Doesn't mean you have to be negative. But the minute that you turn around and get negative about their negativity, you've just grown it. You've just grown it. I can't tell you how many conversations I had with my mom in my early years of spiritual practice of saying, Mom, just calm down. I am calm. What do you mean? Well, that didn't work very well. And then you think, well, all right, where did that get us? Who was that beneficial for? No one. And so you learn to move through it in a different way. Don't tell me to be calm. Okay. And then you have to look at yourself. What's my attachment to telling her to calm down? Why do I need her to calm down? If not calming down is fine for her, why is it bothering me? Why does it bother me? Why am I so troubled by it that I need her to change how she's being? And that's where life starts to get interesting. When you start looking at yourself. Why does it bother me so much? Why does it trigger me so much? Why does it plug into me so much? And that's the opportunity that we have to grow. So use them. Use it to grow. And doesn't mean that you have to live every day of the rest of your life there. Right, of course. Like you eventually get out of the dentist chair. You do it. You do it for the relationship, because the relationship is important. And you take it as sadhana, to learn about yourself, to learn how to love without needing people to be a certain way for us to love them. And then here's the bottom line of that. That's what changes them. That's what changes them. Now, you can't do it to change them. Come on, I've been so good and loving. Like, why haven't you changed yet? Sadhviji said you would change if I would just be, good and loving. No. But when you are, it actually changes them. Because what it does is it creates space for them. Nobody wants to be negative. Nobody thinks it's really fun to be cranky and grumpy and negative, criticizing. It's nobody's idea of a good time. Nobody wants to fight with their children or their spouses. Nobody wakes up and says, my God, today's a really boring day, I know. I'm gonna pick a fight with my kid. I know just how to push her buttons. It'll be really fun. Who needs TV? Nobody thinks like that. It happens because of what they're struggling with, because of their human karmic path. And the more space you can create for them, and just be there, and be unhooked you, loving, caring, but unhooked. However they are, fine. They're your parents. That creates space for them also then to change, should they want to. Because that's also their choice.